Hey, so you've thought about starting your own channel. Podcasting, streaming, vlogging, it all sounds good, but have you thought about the monster in the room? What kind of computer are you going to use? Go ahead and stick around. We're going to talk about that today. So you got to ask yourself, do you really need a computer with 6 to 8 core processor, 32 gigs of RAM, solid state drive, mega gaming graphic card in it with 4 terabytes of storage? Or can you get by with a little Craigslist one that I picked up for about $200? This one has a little i5 core processor. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. And the battery actually lasts about 4 to 5 hours. Actually did pretty good. I could take it out on site. I could hook up my little SD card from my cameras, put them in there, plug it in, copy everything over. It gave me a 14-inch screen that I could go ahead and see. I could back everything up right from it over into a storage device right here. So it worked out pretty good. So when I first started out, this is what I did. It hooked up with my cameras. It did everything I needed to do. I could actually even hook sound right into it, run the sound right over and have it record my sound and stuff. And actually to this day, I still do go ahead and use it. I take it out on sites with me. I mean, I'm at this point here where if a customer wants to see something, I can turn around, show them the screen and say, hey, here you go. What do you think? You know, you can see the video right there in real time and no problem. And I can keep everything caught up with it right on there. Now I did go ahead and upgrade to one that has a nice internal processor. This one's got an i7 in it. This one's got 32 gigs of RAM in it. This one also has solid state drive and it's got a 1050 Ti graphic card in it. So this one does work a lot better, does a lot more work for me. But this one also cost me about $1,200 to $1,500 when I got it. So you can ask yourself when you're first starting out, what do you want to do? Do you want to spend the low cost? It'll still work, but then over time, yes, you are going to need to go ahead and upgrade and get to a better one when you're doing your editing and everything else. This one here, if I go out of town or something like this, I take this with me. I use my home computer here. That one does all my big stuff, but if I need to be portable, movable and stuff, this one does the work for me and this one goes with me when I go out. If I'm doing local stuff around and I need quick and stuff there, I take the smaller one. So you ask the question, okay, you know, now that I bought this one, do I really not use this one anymore? Actually, this one does get a lot of work right now. This one, like I said, does do the sound. I will go ahead and plug in a lot of sound to it. I do a lot of backup stuff over to it and stuff, so it does. But as you're starting out, you've got to ask yourself the question, which do I want to do? Do I want to do where I can start off with a small one, get it working, start building it up, and then buy this one? Because in the overall, in the long run, I ended up spending more money. I bought this one and this one, where if I had just bought this one in the beginning, he could have done everything for me. So these are decisions you have to make on your own. Another thing you got to think about when you're working on this right now, and you're first getting started, because you want to do streaming, you want to do podcasting, you got to do uploads of your videos and everything else. What is your internet like? What is your modem like? Is it an older modem? That could play a factor in it. Now, if you do contact your internet provider, what are they going to do? They're going to automatically say, yes, you need to upgrade. But I would always suggest do a test. Do some practice streaming with a friend or something like that. Do some uploads on your videos. Because you got to think about it is, if I get a new modem, upgrade to what the company says, let them do it. Or how about your router? Is that an older one? Can it handle the newer speeds? What kind of speeds is that pushing out? Those would be factors that you got to think about too. Not just the computer you're using, but how about the modem and the router? Work with those also. So I would suggest low budget, go ahead and start with one right here. And I think they're saying about the minimum you would need right now, as of today, is like an i5 like this one and 8 gigs of memory. This one actually has 16 in it, so it actually is still right at a good pace right now. Now, if you want to jump up to 4K, start doing stuff like that, then you're going to have to go up to a better laptop. I want to say also to the people who do a Mac, I don't have a Mac right here right now. So I know the MacBook Pro, a lot of people are talking about that, but also that's a very expensive laptop. So think about something that's going to work with you. Like when I got this one, I'm thinking this one I'm keeping for the next 4 to 5 years. I've already had it for about 1, so I've got about another 4 or 5 years left on it, right around that range there, and then I'll probably upgrade it at that point. This one here, yeah, I will keep it around. And like I said, I only paid $200 for it, so it does take a little bit of beating. As you can see on it, it does have a few little dings and dents in it. It does go through a little hell, but it does the job for me. So those are things you got to think about as you're starting off with your computer. So something to think about. We're going to go ahead and move on from there and start working on our next steps here. My next video is going to go ahead and come out here probably within a week. And that one I'm going to start going into some of the basics as far as some of the camera settings and different things like that. What is aperture? What is f-stop? What is ISO? Kind of get into those fields right there. Start talking about that a little bit there. So at this point here, this is William signing off, and I am out of here.